I guess the lesson of Orlando, the lesson of San Bernardino, the lessons that we've learned all across America with these horrible mass shootings. We need to do a better job in America keeping guns out of the hands of those who would misuse them. Felons, mentally unstable, and people with a terrorist connection have no business owning guns in America. If that is what this election is going to be about, a referendum on that question, I'll stand by the American people. Common sense dictates that we as a Congress listen to the pleas across America to stop this gun violence. What happened in Orlando was heartbreaking. But what has happened in the city of Chicago since the first of the year is heartbreaking too. Over 1,000 gun violence incidents. Over 200 people killed in that great city. Breaks my heart. I love that city. Breaks my heart to have people in neighborhoods all across that city scared to death of firearms and what they're doing. Do we have the guts to stand up and do something as a Congress? Or are we going to cower afraid of the National Rifle Association? I hope we have the courage to do something. I'd like to make another statement about an issue that is directly related. In times of crisis, our nation expects leadership grounded in American values. President George W. Bush, after the epic tragedy of 9/11, made it clear that those responsible would be held accountable, but he warned America not to hold all Muslims responsible for the radical views of a few. After Orlando, the worst mass shooting in our nation's history, President Obama condemned this act of hate and terror and promised to dedicate every resource to investigate and hold accountable those responsible for this tragedy. Contrast this bipartisan leadership with Donald Trump. Trump, the man who would be the Republican president, in the wake of the Orlando tragedy, congratulated himself for his bigotry toward Muslims and wasted no time blaming President Obama for the deaths. The questions facing Republican leaders again this week is whether they will ignore the fact that their candidate for the presidency is totally unsuited to lead this nation. His emotional rants, his serial insults, his bizarre conspiracy theories, and his divisive singling out enemies to be loathed and feared distinguish him from any other candidate in modern American political history. To hear the Republican Speaker and the Republican Senate Majority Leader endorse Trump and characterize his outrageous comments as only being off-message and unscripted is to dismiss the toxic rhetoric of Donald Trump as only a product of poor political coaching. It is more. His hateful rants are a window on his character and his soul. How many of these same congressional leaders are making plans to attend the Republican convention in Cleveland? How many are going to bring their families, their children, their friends to join them in a standing ovation to honor the lethal rage of their unhinged nominee? History will remember them as willing participants at the scene of this political crime perpetrated on Mr. Lincoln's grand old party.